in the field of spirituality. And Professor Muni Mahendra writes that in short, we can say that for anyone to understand the sense of Jain philosophy, Samaysar has to be studied. This is what Professor Muni Mahendra writes. Even he has written one great book authored by Sri Jethalal Javedian himself. It is translation of Samaysar. It is worth reading book. And since I am quoting from this book, so I wanted to highlight this. I have also made attempt to write detailed commentary of Samaysar, and part 1 I have published as Soul Science. 144 stanzas have been covered here. And here I want to quote stanza 49 that says that why we cannot detect soul. The answer is given by stanza 49. It says, Arasam Ruvam Gandham Avattam Chedana Gunam Saddam Jana Alinga Gahanam Jivam Mriditha Santhanam. I do not have much time to give all details of this stanza, but I have underlined in black ink that soul cannot be apprehended through a symbol or sense organ. In Sanskrit there is word alinga grahan. Alinga grahan, it cannot be detected by any signal. So this is one of the points. Those who are studied in avenues of scientific research, they should keep in mind that soul has this special attribute, alinga grahan. And I want to add one important point about soul. I want to say that avenue of scientific research for our piece is our research on soul and karmic laws. This is my topic. And so I want to bring one more point, futurology and soul. There is a full discipline named futurology, and I would give in brief that there would be now robots, and the robots would act as domestic servant. If you go, they would open door for you. They would ask you, how was your day? And if you give good news, they would celebrate it. If you make joke, they would laugh. If you give some bad news, they would give tears. So there would be emotions in the robots. And in Japan now, one can buy this type of robot known as Emobot, E-M-O-B-O-T. Its name is Paper. And it costs $1,600 and $200 per month maintenance fee. And Krishnamurti now great philosopher Krishnamurti, he says that when there will be development of such robots which would have emotions, then many spiritual persons would think, oh, now there is nothing like soul. We were unnecessarily wasting time on our soul. Because emotions, हंसना पीटना रोना हम अब तक मानते थे कि ये आत्मा का गुण है, पर ये तो रोबोट ही कर रहे हैं, तो फिर आत्मा क्या करता है? तो this becomes big challenge when we see that emotions are shared by robots. This was given warning by Krishnamurti, but for Jain scriptures, it is not liability. This invention is asset. Why I call it asset? Because in stanza 51 of Samaysar, same Samaysar, about which I told earlier, in stanza 51 says, Jivasanathirago Navidosoneva Vijjade Moho Nopachayana Kammam Nokammam Chavisenathi. The translation is from Professor Muni Mahendra's book. It says, the soul is devoid of attachment, aversion, delusion, influx of karmic matter, subtle body, and gross physical body. I do not have much time to discuss over this very powerful point, but I want to highlight this thing that Jain scriptures strongly approve this idea that emotions are bhav karma. We say dravya karma, bhav karma, no karma. These are not soul, these are different from soul. And so we need research. Real avenues of scientific research for our development is to see things like this. I would not waste my time, not waste, but very useful analogy I have given. We know hydroelectricity, what electricity comes, but we know that electricity is different and water is different. Electricity does not come from water. Something like this. So more analogies can be given. And even A doctor also knows that fever is in the body, but fever is different. Body has its own healing power. Doctor adopts Anekant approach. He gives medicine for fever, but at the same time, he allows body to heal. In the same way, in spiritual healing, we need this thing. Healing treatment includes awareness of separateness of soul from emotions and body. This separateness of emotions and body and awareness of this is the most powerful thing in Jain scriptures. It is called Bhed Vigyan, and Bhed Vigyan, even it has been told that Bhed Vigyanta Siddhaya Kilkechan, Aseva Bhavato Baddhaya Kilkechan. Even for Preksha Dhyan and high level meditation, we require difference of soul between pleasure, pain, emotions, and sickness. This is very required. Even without Bhed Gyan, a person may be noble laureate, but he is in first Gunasthan. But with Bhed Gyan, the person comes in fourth Gunasthan. This is the first step for spiritual development. So Bhed Vigyan is very important. And even modern authors like Eckhart Tolle writes, I am not my thoughts, I am not my emotions, I am not my sense perceptions and experiences. So my point is, just in very short, I want to convey that Bhed Vigyan is very powerful thing, and when robots would come, our Bhed Vigyan would be very useful for us. We would be able to digest Bhed Vigyan very easily. Of course, we need an Anekant approach. We have to handle Bhed Vigyan carefully also. Now, karmic laws are also part of our spirituality, and I want to give one example. We can perform some experiment. Karmic laws, they are karmic laws, and we need to perform some experiments to verify karmic laws. And I want to give one indication of karmic laws, and that is Tattva Sutra Adhyaya 6, 12th Sutra. It says, Bhut Vratyanukampa Dana Saraga Sayamadi Yoga Shanti Shauchmiti Sadvedyasya. If you are interested in Satavedni Karma, pleasure in life, in next life, then what to do? This gives recipe. And it says, compassion towards all living beings, devotion towards the spiritually advanced persons, charity, self-restraint with auspicious conduct, forgiveness, purity becomes the cause of burning of pleasure-filling karma. So what I want to say, we can do one experiment. And experiment is compassion towards all living beings. One can do this experiment, and my suggestion is, for a quantitative study, one can first study the effect of the courteous and polite behavior of retail shopkeepers on their income and happiness. This experiment can be performed. That effect of politeness and courteous behavior towards customers by shopkeepers, this study can be performed by a group, and we can see that there is increase in earning and there is increase in happiness, and not only relations with customers would increase, but the relations with family members and spouse may also be better. And further guidance, for detailed guidance, we can take guidance from Stanford Forgiveness Project. They have performed this experiment. So more details about this experiment can be, but for that experiment we need to give quantitative training, and more experiment we can do. There are publications for Stanford Forgiveness Project. In the same line, our university, Larno University, can perform some experiments over nearly 100 retailers. And there are indications how to perform. Even for forgiveness also, there is book and experimental results, Forgive for Good. And one can earn money also by such experiment in USA. In USA, the person who has performed experiment on forgiveness, he charges 17,000 rupees per person to train. He gives 4 lectures and he earns 17,000 per person. If you are going to USA on 26 January 2016, you can contact this address. I finish here. Thank you very much.
Very nice. And now we will invite Dr. Rudy Jensma, who
Give me 30
is
seconds.
from Theosophical Studies Center, Rotterdam, Netherlands. And Dr. Rudy will speak on non-physical order of existence, concept of soul in Jaina metaphysics, and concept of consciousness in modern science.
I've got 15 minutes and I'll try to save 45. I'll do my best to make it 45 minutes shorter than the 15 minutes. I have a paper that is some 14 pages, and of course it's far too big. And it is in the form of short statements, of aphorisms. I have a number of aphorisms, a number of short statements that are far too many to discuss, because every one of these statements could give rise to a lecture in itself. So I give you just these things, and everyone can think for himself. The first one is, I have yellow marked it. Is that visible over there? Yeah. Less than 1% of the universe is visible. More than 99% is invisible. So if we talk about the non-physical order of existence, and I mean to say, even in our physical world, the spectrum of light that we can see is about 1 octave, from 400 to 800 nanometers. The number of octaves that are known to science may be about 100. So even of what we see, it's almost nothing of all electromagnetic radiation that comes to our system. The thing is that we see only a very, very small section of of the electromagnetic radiation in the universe. The same applies to our hearing. We hear only a very small section of the sounds that can be heard. Now, even if we talk about all our senses, hearing and seeing and smell and touching and tasting, then we talk only about what we physically can perceive. We are not talking about all the unphysical things. All of reality, which has no direct interaction with our perception, belongs to the invisible. There is no reason to suppose that there is a limit to possibilities. Possibility itself is infinite. So you see, Western science is only directed to that which we can perceive with our senses and with the extensions of our senses. These are instruments. Then all aspects of consciousness, such as mental ideas, intuitions, emotional feelings, and instincts, are invisible. I cannot see the thoughts of any one of you, nor can you see my thoughts or my feelings or the history that is in my memory. Nothing of that. So I say 99% is invisible. I can say 99.9999, etc. of what I am, of what you are, and what is in the universe is invisible, imperceptible for the senses. Such things can only be measured indirectly. So physical matter is the very outermost manifestation of reality, which we can consciously and physically interact in this moment in universal history. Now, if we see the picture of the Jain universe, we see that the world in which we live, that is Jambudvipa, in Madhyaloka, is a very thin slice. Above it is the gigantic universe of 7 Rajus, enormous distances of the heavenly worlds, and below it are 7 layers of hell realms, the 7 bhumis, with I think 84 lakh different places where one can go after death. All these things belong to the invisible world. And science have not grasped anything of this ever. I highlighted only one, because I thought it was important to mention that all religions, philosophies, and sciences are devoted to truth. That means Jains are devoted to truth, scientists are devoted to truth, and Buddhists and every thinking human being, well-thinking human being, scientist, philosopher, is praying to only one God or goddess, that is truth. But we have so many different opinions. But we should be aware that nor Jainism, nor Buddhism, nor Hinduism, nor science can claim to have the ultimate truth. So we should try to prevent sticking things on top of each other. We sometimes try to say that, Jainism knew this already 2,000 years ago. Maybe true in some respects, but we must be very careful because we don't know. We are very, very ignorant, every one of us. Mainstream Western scientists, it has been said several times in these days, takes it for granted that consciousness is a function of a rising property of physical matter. So only due to the complexity of the human mind, consciousness exists. And most probably only in a complex physical nervous system as found in humans and higher animals. I have a friend who is a biologist and he was seeing some butterflies and he says, oh, how beautiful they are dancing together, but they don't know. They have no consciousness because they have a very simple nervous system. That is what many scientists believe, completely contrary to Jainism, of course. In the Jain system, it is the jiva which first embodies itself in the mineral kingdom. And in that stage has only one organ of perception, feeling. In that stage, the consciousness, which is not yet mental, jiva needs no more complex organic organism and an organic nervous system. It can do with simple arrangement in geometrical patterns of inorganic molecules. A crystal is an externalization of the jiva's expression in the mineral kingdom. Here we touch a very important point. Because in the Western concept, and that is our other pole, you could say, it would also be the Charvaka standpoint, nothing, all these things are not supposed to be able to be conscious. There will be no scientist that wants to keep his job in a university saying that a stone or a mineral has something like awareness. Consciousness was first, and in no way the result of chemical complexity, we say, but the cause of it, according to the purpose and willpower and developed intelligence of the jiva. I think most of us will agree. Now, if you take the scientific idea about what the universe looks like, with regard to consciousness, point 7 that I have there, according to that view, when we look at the sky, even until the borders of the perceptible universe, everything is without consciousness. We are absolutely lonely in the fact that we are aware of an environment and of ourselves. The rest doesn't even know that it exists. And it is the mainstream opinion in great parts of the world. Awareness exists only within the earthly human mind, a very small section of the universe indeed, according to that view. Everything that came into being exists and disappears out of its appearance is absolutely unconscious matter. If from the spiritual point of view, the Jain point of view, or the theosophical point of view, or in general spiritual philosophical points of view, if consciousness is eternal and the source and origin of all phenomena, that is the jiva, we find ourselves in a universe where everything is an expression of that universal consciousness, as well as an individual and individual expression. As every flower has a different color and form and mood, every galaxy, solar system and molecule expresses a different mood or expression of the universal consciousness. Except of being lonely, we form part of a universal brotherhood of consciousnesses, feelings, thoughts, sorrows and happinesses, of many different intensities, like we ourselves have purposes, every being has a purpose, including every star, planet or atom. There is no true loneliness in that universe. Thank you.
And now, may we request Professor Muni Mahendra Kumar to conclude the session.
Just I will conclude in 1 minute only. We have heard Roger Penrose. Most of his lecture was devoted to the creation of universe. It is explained popularly through Big Bang.